And allow yourself to slowly center. My hope for you is that every time you step on your mat, you experience the gift that comes from presence. So, as you retreat inward here for a moment, just take stock. What is happening in your mind today? What is the state of not only the quality of your thoughts, but like what you're thinking about, but what is the impact of your thoughts on your body? Do you have a replay that's going on in your mind that's really serving you? Do you have a replay kind of in the back of your mind that maybe isn't serving you? Let's see if we can let our practice be a flushing where we can kind of slow the mind down and then let it flush just a bit so that there's space, room for new thoughts, room for no thought. So as you drop into the body, feel your ground, settle your sit bones. Notice whatever is happening in your mind. How is it impacting your body? Do you feel open today? Do you feel a little slumpy or tight? What's the nature of your body today? And just scan a bit from crown on down. Just taking stock of any place that might need a little care, need a little love. Let's begin by bringing a little bit of our breath into any place that you're finding that could use some care. So a deep, full inhale. And a very complete, full exhale. Melt any tension you have across your face. Let's place our hands together at our heart. Bow in, create an intention for your practice. What do you need? And then release the hands. Let's go ahead and come down onto our mat. Okay, so grab onto your roll towel, and we're going to start with this underneath our back. If you've not done this before, it's very simple. We're going to have the roll towel kind of at the top edge of your shoulder blades, and we're going to move it down the spine. Knees are bent, feet are on the floor, and kind of find a spot where you feel like it's even across your shoulder blades. And then before we do anything with our arms, let's just get organized with what the rocking of this feels like. So this is a really good thing to do for your spine. It hydrates your spine, gets into a lot of teeny nooks and crannies. So we're going to push off our feet, so you can either feel like you're pushing off your heels. I like to have my whole foot flat on the ground and just push off to rock top bottom, so north south to the crown tail. And just feel that your feet are pushing your spine, not doing a pelvic tilt. So we want our pelvis to stay nice and neutral. So the action of pushing off our feet actually moves our spine, not our pelvis. And then once you got that rhythm going, we're going to do really four different positions with the arms. So first, hands right over your chest, nice and easy, nice and loose. So the arms are right over your shoulders. And then we're going to lift the arms up overhead, all the while breathing. If you get a little fatigued in your quads, try taking your feet a little further away from you and just adjust little places. And then hands come back up over your chest. We're going to turn our head and our arms to the right. Keep rocking. And then arms back up and turn head and arms to the left. So essentially we're getting just a little bit of flexion, extension, and rotation in our spine. And then come back up to neutral. And then we're going to move the bolster, the little roll towel, down a little bit underneath our shoulder blades, a little lower. So we're just going to go at your own pace. Everybody's different with this, so you can kind of feel into what is the favorite amount of time to spend at every position. Make sure you're breathing well. So it's easy to hold our breath when we're concentrating on something. And you get to decide how long you want to stay in each position. So arms over chest, arms over head, and then a twist. Arms to one side, arms to the other side, head as well. Okay. The most important thing you're doing is making sure that you're relaxed, that your legs are moving your spine and your pelvis is neutral, and that you're breathing. So as you find a new spot, just kind of dance around in there, see what's available. Make sure you're breathing. This should feel really good. And it's surprisingly effective to have just a little rolled towel underneath you, as far as giving yourself a little self-massage. Make sure you're breathing. Now, what if you did this for a few minutes every day? You know, I mean, think about all the habits that you have every day. You can do this while you're doing other, I mean, I would recommend doing it just all by itself without any other input, but you could listen to a podcast or a book on tape, or, you know, you could even be watching something on the screen. You could be having a conversation, put your phone on speakerphone and talk to somebody while you're doing this. You know, you don't have to. It's way better if you just do it without any other interruptions. But if you want to, you can do it along with something else as well. The point is, try to do it often. You know, I try to do this at least once a week. Okay. All right. So as you move down the spine, I'm kind of, you know, in the bottom edge of my thoracic spine now, like right at the very bottom tips of my shoulder blades. Maybe you're a lot lower, but you might notice, and maybe you're still higher. All is well, wherever you are, don't rush. And when you get to, you know, I'm not there yet, but when you get to the low back, it's going to feel different. It's going to, because the curves in your spine are a little different, you're going to not be able to have as much pressure down. So if that happens to you, bring your knees to your chest and just rock with holding on to your knees. You probably won't be able to do the arm positions any longer, but you'll just get a little bit of love into your low back. So when you get there, experiment. And then just notice, you know, what do you feel in each segment that of your spine that you're working with? How are things, you know, especially around your diaphragm? How is this impacting your breath? Your ability to breathe well? Do you have a favorite position with your arms? You know, like over your chest or over your head or side? Speaking of the sides, do you have one side that you just kind of like to be in longer than another side? All right, so, you know, when you get to, right now I'm at the spot where I don't quite need my knees bent yet, but it's a little bit, I have to maneuver a little bit differently. I just have to move my feet a little wider and a little closer to my body to be able to get the leverage that I needed for the rocking. So don't hesitate if you feel like, oh, I just lost my rhythm, or this doesn't feel as good, make some adjustments. Okay. And then when you do get to your low back, you can just rock on that rolled towel very gently. You can even rock side to side a little bit and just let that rolled towel kind of get into those deep low back muscles. Now, I would never recommend putting a foam roller into your low back. So this is very small and very soft and smushy. So it's okay. But if you have something super hard like a foam roller, that's just too much for your low back. There's no other bony structures that support this area. Okay, so maybe you can find a couple of spots in your low back once you get there. And then once you get back to the sacrum, when you're back on bones again, lots of bones, then you can put your legs back down. And it might even feel good as you get closer to your tailbone to straighten your legs and just push off your heels by flexing and pointing and flexing your toes. So kind of find whatever distance away from your head you want your feet to be. Okay, and then when you are on your sacrum, it may feel like, oh, there's no point doing the arm movements, but there actually is. So even though it doesn't feel, it's much more subtle, the movement change that happens when you have your hands over your chest, over your head, and then side to side, still go ahead and do it. Now, if you're already done, you can just rest and just absorb what just happened. This is really nice to give yourself a little self-care. All right. Now, once I'm just about finished, and I have no idea if your pace was faster than my pace, slower than my pace, right in line with my pace. So there's zero right or wrong way to do this. You just got to do what feels good to you. So if you're done, go ahead and remove the towel. And if you're keep going. I'm just going to start moving on with my teaching, but you catch up when you're done. All right, so just lie down on your back for a moment with no props underneath you and feel what you feel. Are you a little bit more alive in the back body? Is your breath moving well? And then stretch and lengthen through your sides, reaching the right, reaching the left. And bringing the knees into the chest and rocking a little bit, swaying from side to side. All right, let's circle the knees. Let's move them one direction. And then circle the knees and move them another direction. And then open up the hips and see what it feels like to have a little range of motion. We did a bunch of hip work yesterday, so if you were here yesterday, curious how your hips feel today. So perhaps if they're a little tight or sore, we can kind of revisit some of what we felt yesterday. All right, so stretch out, lengthen, wiggle your fingers and your toes, roll your ankles and your wrists while you're here. Get some mobility, open and close your hands perhaps, wiggle your fingers and toes. And then we're going to exhale and bring the knees right up into the chest. Go ahead and roll over onto your side. And come to sit on your feet for a minute or just sit and just notice the spine. Do you have a little bit better set point where your chest is a little bit more comfortable being in an open posture instead of slumping? It's a little easier to have that sense of freedom through your spine as you're sitting. And bring your hands down onto the floor and come onto all fours. All right, so move through a cat-cow. Move through your spine. And then move your pelvis, your shoulders, anything around. So you do not have to stay in one plane of flexion and extension. Feel free to wag your tail or move your hips around, however feels nice. Once you're ready, go ahead and stretch back to child's pose. All right, so remember, this is your practice. Heck, you could do the warm-ups the whole class if you want to, if they feel really good to you. There's so many different ways to go about your yoga practice. You do not have to follow me. All right, so relax your forehead toward the earth or maybe on the earth. Walk the hands out in front of you. Rest your spine. See if you can rest your skull. Let go of any tension. Okay. We're going to walk the hands over to one side. Drop some weight down into your hips. Feel the reach of your rib cage and open things up. And over to the other side. Stretching and lengthening through that arm. Reach down through the hips. And come back up onto all fours. Move things around if you want. Let's find some threading the needle. Open your chest. Exhale, slide that shoulder under. Feel a twist here. Enjoy the breath. Where does the breath easily go? Relax through your skull, the base of your skull, your ears, your jaw. And then come out of there just a little bit so that you're facing the ground now, back towards child's pose, but your arm is still underneath you. So pull it out a little bit so your collarbones can broaden. Just feel the back side of your shoulder open up. All right, and then inhale. Reach that arm all the way up to the sky. Exhale and place your hand down. Change sides. Arm lifting. Exhale, slide that shoulder down, twisting. Feel a little pressure of your left hand on the ground if you want. Notice if your hips shift off to the side, see if you can keep somewhat neutral. Deep breath into the back of your body. All right, and then slide out of there a little bit so your chest is facing the floor, your hips can go back towards child's pose. Opening up the back side of the shoulder capsule. And then inhale and lift that arm all the way back up in the air. Hands come forward, puppy pose, so our hips are high. We're going to drop our chest toward the floor. Maybe your forehead touches the ground, maybe it doesn't. Lift onto the armpits, try not to overstretch through your shoulder joints. Really, we're looking for an openness in the thoracic spine. All right, then walk your feet forward and knees forward. Move around a little bit. And then we're going to lift up onto our shins. Rise up, bring the arms to the sky. Exhale, lower back down to child's pose. Let's try that once more. Up onto your shins, rising up. Exhale, hands can come down at your sides. They don't have to be overhead. Bring your arms out overhead now. Dog pose, curl toes under, and feel into your legs. So let's get our legs a little online and open now. So pedaling your feet. See, you maybe want to knead like a cat. Just trying to find what's going to allow some nice presence in the body. Breathing deeply. Feel the femur bones lift up and back. Spread open the bones of the feet. Spread open the bones of the hands. Feel into your yielding. And then walk your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Fold a little bit. Feel free to wag your tail. See if that feels nice. Breathe well. Inhale for a halfway lift. Spine gets longer. You can put your hands on blocks or on your legs for a half lift or even on the floor if you're very flexible. And then exhale and melt again. Relax your neck. One more time, halfway lift, thigh bones back, stretch the backs of the legs, knees included. Then exhale and melt. Push off your feet, rise all the way up. If you're dizzy, take a moment, find the midline, squeeze toward it as best as you can, and then pause in Tadasana. Feel the sense of open heart. Okay, let's just begin with our hands low. We're going to shake our hands. Start to shake your arms as you lift them up a little bit higher. Keep shaking. Shake all the way up overhead. And then lose your shake and open the chest. Reach back. And then cactus open the arms and lower your hands down. We're going to do some eagle arms. So we're bringing your elbows in front of you. Cross your left arm over right arm over left arm. Drop the shoulders, open across your collarbones, and just feel the top of your shoulders start to open. Breathing deeply. Just let that settle into the body. Find some breath. And then relax that. Change sides. Arms come up. We're going to take our left arm on top of our right. Shoulders drop down. Collarbones open. Let the elbows lift a bit and pull them away. Enjoy the stretch across the tops of your shoulders. Relax your jaw, relax the base of your skull. Okay, and then release and relax your arms. And just shake your arms out. Okay, a little bit more mobility in the thoracic spine. We're going to start this with our feet hip width apart. You can always go wider than hip width apart. I like my legs just a little bit wider. And we're going to start with our arms very loose. We're not, we're just letting gravity and momentum take our arms. Okay, wake up your core a little bit. Use your core a little bit while you're here. Make sure you're breathing. And then we're going to start to have the arms come up a little bit higher. You can still bend them if you want. Or you can start having your arms out to the sides. Whatever feels good for your shoulders. Okay. And now we're going to swing the arms up and start to get the legs a little bit wider than your mat. And you can do this slow. You can do this fast. Just getting some mobility in our shoulders. Okay, now reaching to the sides. Now start to squat a little lower. You can go fast or slow. All right, now slow down. We're going to stretch. We're not quite doing Parsvakonasana. We're kind of stretching in that sort of way. Opening up the breath. And then we're going to pause in a deep squat. You can lean forward a little bit. Bring your elbows inside your knees or on your knees. Lengthen through your spine. Deep breaths here. Ground through your feet. Feel those roots. Full breaths in and out. All right, and then rise up. Standing star. Open the chest. Heel toe your feet or just step in a little bit more. Exhale and fold forward. Now relax your shoulders a little bit. You might even want to grab onto your elbows if that feels happy in your body. Relax your neck. And inhale and find a halfway lift. Lengthening through the spine. Exhale and melt. Step your right foot forward, left foot back. Come to a lunge. Breathing well. Let's start to move if you want. You can straighten the front leg a bit. You can bend the front knee, just going back and forth. Once you're ready, ground your legs. and rise up to crescent lunge. Now, maybe your arms have had enough for now and you really want to rest your shoulders. If they're, if you have a shoulder that's a little unhappy, you can always have your hands on your hips or your arms down at your sides, or some cactus arms out to the sides, or some platter arms. All right, so open your chest, feel into the weight of your legs, drop into the earth and push off. Find the breathing. And now if you are able to bring your arms up overhead, go ahead and do that. If not, just go wherever your body goes. And now we're going to exhale and press forward, lean forward. Rise up, cactus arms. Exhale and press forward. Stay grounded in your legs. One more time. And then release the hands down. Take your back knee onto the floor. Back to child's pose. Relax your body here. Fill up your breath. Empty your breath. Bring your left foot forward and your right foot back. Now you can do, everything can be modified. Maybe you want to keep your knee down and not lift it up off the ground. So that can be a way of conserving energy if you need it. When you're ready, let's begin to bend and straighten the knee. Stay inside your breath. Start to feel your breath be your meditation for your practice. As you're ready, rise up and come to a lunge. Okay, so crescent lunge, maybe your arms come up, maybe they don't, and you'd rather have your arms lower in some way. Fill up your breath. Steady yourself. So if you know that your breath is getting away from you, slow things down, pause, do whatever you need to find the breath again. We're going to move through this. Open the chest, rise up with your arms, cactus, exhale, and press forward. Lifting up, cactus arms. One more time. Take your time, breathe your pace. Hands down. This time, dog pose. All right, so breathe well. Maybe take your legs wider. Just experiment with what feels right for your body. All right, let's come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady. Integrate into the core. Hug your hands toward each other. See if you can have that sense that the shoulder blades are down and hugging the elbows, even though they're not next to your ribs. Imagine you had some elbows next to your ribs that you were hugging. So light up the lats. All right, let's put your knees down when you're ready and find the floor. Roll the shoulders a few times. Just feel into that range of motion. And then inhale and rise up to cobra pose. Exhale and melt back down. Notice if you're more ready for a cobra pose because of what we've already done than you sometimes are if you do this pose very quickly in your practice. Third time, take your hands wide and extend. Reach into your legs. Feel the whole front body lengthen. Keep the back of the neck long. And melt and fold. Okay, relax for a moment here. Pick up the feet. Windshield wiper your knees left and right. Feel some ease. Return home to the breath. All right, and then as you're ready, come up onto all fours again. Move your spine about. Okay, you can swish and sway. Find what feels good. And then imagine your rib cage is inside a paper towel tube and just roll through your ribs. So over to the left, down, over to the right, up. And then switch directions. Just feel how loose you can get your ribs and your spine to feel. And then stretch back towards child's pose. Okay, we're going to take some of this mobility and bring some strength into it. So take your forearms down onto the ground, lift up to dolphin pose. Okay, lift your chest up toward the pelvis, relax your skull. You can always have a block between your hands if you need it. Try to keep your wrists, your elbows, and your shoulders all on the same plane. Lift your femur bones up and back. Spread out the bones of your feet. Full breaths in, full breaths out. And then walk your feet back, integrate into a forearm plank, and hold yourself steady. You can always put your knees on the floor if you need an extra bit of support. Shoulders stay away from the ears. Feel the core of your body integrate. So we can have senses, we can have lots of range of motion and fluidity and freedom, and we can also have stability and integration. All right, and then find your way coming down onto the ground. Lift your left knee high up toward your chest. Just let your low back soften a little bit. We're going to open the chest here into a big open wide twist. So roll over onto your back, let your hand come to the floor, the back of your hand to the floor. The knee can leave the ground. Don't feel like you have to force into a deeper twist. Let it all be about your chest and your thoracic spine finding their freedom. And then come back to center, switch sides, right knee comes up. If you have blocks in the way, get rid of them. And then we're going to slide open, finding your breath. Let your chest expand. Try not to overdo the twist. And then come back around to center. Find your way up to all fours. Move the spine around in any way that feels good. So remember, you can move slower than me, you can move faster than me, you can move the same as me, you can move differently than me. Okay, find your way up to dog pose and breathe here. Notice how every time you come back to dog pose, do you feel a little different in your body? And let's walk our feet forward, come into Uttanasana, relax your neck, and then drop your seat and rise on up. Okay, if you ever get dizzy on the way up, to always let it pass before you start to do something else. You can always cross one thigh over thigh and squeeze. You can take your hands to the midline and squeeze. This will keep your blood pressure rising back up. We're going to stand on our right, actually let's do chair pose. You can always stick a block between your thighs if you need it. Take a deep breath and rise up with your arms. Now always your arms can be in a totally different position if your shoulders are feeling a burden at all. If we're working a lot with the thoracic spine, the chest, the shoulders, so just notice if you need a break from the overhead. Find your breath. Okay. We're going to hover our weight into our right foot and then hover the left foot just slightly off the ground. A one-footed squat, one-footed chair. And then put 2 feet back down, rebalance your weight. And then we're going to bounce the weight into the left foot and hover the right foot up. Now, if you know you need a little more balance, feel free to change your arm position. Ground into your foot. Lift through your crown. And then place 2 feet onto the ground. Last breath or two here in chair. And then rise all the way up and release the arms down. Pause for a moment in Tadasana. Deep breath in, breath away. We're gonna come into eagle pose. Now, if you know your balance is a little off, you can always do this pose with your buttocks against a wall or against a piece of furniture. So we're gonna go on our right leg with our left leg on top, okay? Find your legs first. Now, because our left leg is on top, we're gonna put the right arm on top. Okay. All right, so spread out the bones of your feet. Squeeze your inner thighs, squeeze your arms. Let your peripheral vision take over. Open your collarbones, drop the shoulders, lift the elbows a teeny bit. And then unwind the legs, unwind the arms, come to a big stand. All right, and then relax for a moment before we do the second side. So pause here. Enjoy 2 feet on the ground. Let yourself be grounded. We're going to root our weight into our left foot, cross right thigh over left. Now, if you hook your foot around your calf, great. If your knee, whatever doesn't allow that, just rest your foot on the side like I'm doing. Because our right leg is on top, we're going to put our left arm on top. So always opposites. Drop the shoulders, lift the chest. Open across the collarbones. See if you can squeeze your legs, squeeze your arms. Squat a little deeper. Lift your chest a little higher. Drop the shoulders. Stay breathing. Let the breath push out to the side ribs. Okay, and then when you're ready, open back up. Standing star. And then relax. Okay, pause here for a moment. And begin to shake out your hands again. Make a little room, make a little space, and bounce. So just get a little lymph moving through you. You don't have to leave the floor. You can jump if you want. All right, now pause here in Tabasana. Full, huge breaths through your ribs. And we're going to take our legs wide on our mat. Bend your right knee and come into Parsva Konasana. Okay, both shoulders away from the ears. And we're going to stretch open through the side body. Now, always, if your hand overhead doesn't feel good, try taking it straight out from your shoulder. Try taking it down at your side. Try a cactus, or not a cactus, but a platter arm. So find what works for your body if your shoulder's unhappy. Round into the pose. Feel the openness in your hips. Enjoy all the space. Deep breaths. Stay in your lunge, reverse your warrior, and open the other side body up. Breathe into your rib cage. All right, come up to stand. Let's turn our feet the other way to the left. Now we're going to bring our elbow onto our knee or our hand onto a block. Ground your legs. So feel your legs before you bring your arm up so that you know you have your grounded place. Shoulder blades away from the ears. Keep extending through the spine. The feet are broad and grounded. Both side bodies extend, so we're not rounding underneath. We're finding length in both sides. Relax the base of your skull. Bring the breath into the side ribs as best as you can. And then when you're ready, reach that arm up. Open the breath. Reach and extend and lengthen. And then relax and come out of the pose. Turn your feet to the long edge of your mat. Find your breath. 2 arms up, standing star. Turn your feet out. Exhale. Got it. Inhale, open to a star. Exhale, cactus your arms in the goddess. Up you go. Anywhere you want for your arms. And you know, you can move around. You don't have to be so stuck. Okay, spread open the bones of your feet. Lift your chest. And then release your hands down. Turn your feet forward and find your way into Pasrita. Just let your body rest. Deep inhale and exhale. As you're ready, walk your hands back to the front of your mat. And find your way to dog pose. Regroup here. Feel that centering. Deep breaths. Come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady. Integrate into the center. All right, and find your way all the way down to the ground. If it's comfortable, interlace your hands behind your back. If that's not comfortable, hands next to your sides, your hips, palms facing down. Okay, take a deep breath, and we're gonna lift everything up. Let your diaphragm do the rocking. Deep breaths here. Shoulder blades hug. All right, and then melt and relax. Turn your head one way or the other. Perhaps pick up your feet if it feels good to windshield wiper them. Let's turn the head the other way. All right, let's go ahead and find our way back up to all fours. Have a moment there, do whatever you want with your spine. Okay, and then we're gonna come back to child's pose. All right, we're gonna do a teeny bit of core work. Okay, so lie down on your back. All right, so here we are on our back again. This time it's not going to be as fluid as when we were doing the rolled towel underneath us. So cross your right thigh over your left thigh. Cross your left arm over your right arm. So we're lying down in eagle pose. Okay. Take a deep breath in, open, and as you exhale, hug up your elbows and knees toward each other. Inhale, come back down. Exhale, up you go. Now you can tap your foot and drop your head. You cannot go all the way down if you want. Just find what's working for you. Open up to a star. So remember, opening and closing joints. So opening and closing joints, this is really good for our lymphatic system. So if you're feeling a little sluggish in your body, if you need some mobility, you want things to start flushing through you, any of these positions where we kind of squeeze in and then open up are a really good thing. So now left thigh over right thigh, right arm over left arm. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, elbows and knees come in. Try to do 5. And then once you're done with 5, go ahead and spread your limbs out. Find your breath. All right, and then go ahead And relax your arms down, bring your knees into your chest, rock a little bit, swing from side to side. Let's roll over onto our side. And we're going to come into pigeon pose with your right foot forward. If you want to do reverse pigeon pose instead, by all means, do reverse pigeon pose instead. I'm going to have a blanket underneath my pelvis. Okay. So you do you. Find any support that you need. We're going to first, before we go down, find the openness, the lift of this pose. See if you can keep the chest broad. Your back leg, your kneecaps on the ground, maybe your toes are curled under, maybe they're flat, but that leg is straight, not turned out. And then eventually we're going to find our way into some ease in this posture. So you can rest your head on a block. If you're on your back, rest the back of your head deeply into the floor. And just let your body be soothed for a moment. Now all this opening we've done in the thoracic spine, see if you can keep your breath moving into that space. Keep melting through the base of your skull. Let your hips be square, wide sit bones. Keep the extension of your spine. Try not to smush all the vertebrae together that we've spent so much time opening. Come back up, find your way. Now you can come back to dog pose if you want and lift that leg, or you can just switch. If you're on your back, you can just switch sides. So just find your way to pigeon pose on the other side. Deep breaths here. First, stay up for a moment while you get yourself organized. And feel that your chest can stay open and broad in this pose, that you don't have to collapse. It's not about falling. So as you do start to come forward, do it with a long, spacious spine instead of, oh, now I get to collapse my spine. Square the hips, wide sit bones. Organize your SI joint, your hip joint, your knee, your ankle. Make sure everything's in an okay position and you are supported enough. Once you have all that, melt everything you can find. And that doesn't mean collapse the spine. Stay in space. Stay in breath. All the way back. Find your way out. Okay, we're going to come down onto our back one more time. We're going to cross our right thigh. Oh, you might need a block handy, so make sure you have one. We're going to twist in two different directions with our legs crossed. So right thigh over left thigh. We're going to lift our hips and scoot them to the right, and we're going to drop our knees over to the left. I have a block underneath my left shin. So you can kind of put it, or I'm sorry, my right shin, but you might have it underneath your left shin. Maybe you don't need a block. So just see what is available for your twisting. Open your chest here. Lift our knees up. Keep your legs, scoot your hips to the left. And now we're going to drop our knees over to the right. So it's a little bit different feeling of a twist. Support underneath your legs if you need to. Nice open chest. Relax the back of your head. Most important thing you're doing is breathing. All right, lift the knees. Spread your body out to a star. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, knees into your chest. Give a hug. Put your right foot down. Left foot is going to come on top of right thigh, or left thigh on top of right thigh. Move your hips right. We're dropping knees left. So maybe you need a block somewhere underneath that left side. Maybe not. Open up. Let your breath be here. Bring your knees back up. Scoot your hips over to the left side now. And last twist over to the right. Legs are staying the same. Still having your left leg on top of right. Breathing well. Melt the back of your head. You can turn your head away from your knees if you want. Lift your knees. Come back to neutral. Star your body out. Exhale. Knees in. Give yourself a hug. And relax your head down. Grab onto your feet for happy baby pose. Feel free to rock a little bit. Sway if it feels nice. Deep breaths. Let's go ahead and roll over onto your side. Okay. We're going to do one last pose for our back to open up our thoracic spine. Grab a blanket, a one rolled blanket. You can always make it a flat accordion fold if you don't like rolls. And we're going to put this underneath. We're going to have it in two places. We're going to have our favorite spot underneath our thoracic spine. So you find your spot. And then we're going to do under our sacrum after this. So just feel, there's a lot of little teeny maneuvering you can do with this under your shoulder blades. Also, one last moment to take advantage of a big open breath. Okay, arms can go anywhere you want. They can be up overhead. Your elbows can be bent and you can grab onto your elbows with your opposite hand. Your hands can be straight out like a T or cactus or over your chest or down. Release your breath. Full deep inhales and exhales. All right, and then now you're gonna lift your hips up and slide that blanket so that it's underneath your pelvis. You can switch it out for a block if you prefer. And we're going to either rest your feet on the ground, knees bent, and just let your pelvis rest here. Or if you have a little tightness in your psoas and you want to just stretch things open a bit, you can lengthen one or both legs down onto the ground, legs straight, heels down. So what that might look like, one-legged is to have one foot on the floor with knees bent and the other leg straight with heel on the ground. And then after a couple breaths, switch. Once again, where your arms go kind of does matter. So notice different positions. Let your breath travel. And then if it's comfortable, bring your knees to your chest while you're still on that prop. You can always take the prop out. You can always do you can bring your legs up if you want. You can bring your legs into happy baby pose, whatever is feeling good. All right, let's go ahead and relax. Lower your body down and rest on the floor. If there's anything else you need for Shavasana, take it. Maybe you want that rolled blanket underneath your knees. That might feel nice. Maybe you want something higher underneath your knees. So, and if there's any other postures you need to let your body relax, we just kind of ended on a little bit of a back bend. So feel free to bring knees to chest, rock around a little bit, whatever is needed to bring your body at ease. It might feel good to have your legs up higher, like on a chair or a couch with your calves. Now, once you get comfortable, notice if your shoulders are resting on the floor well, if there's just a little bit more surface area of connection to the ground. Move your breath well through your body. Allow your limbs to sink and settle into the ground. Relax the back of the head into the floor. Melt your jaw and your ears and your tongue. Nice, slow exhale. As you're ready, let's begin to move just a little bit. You can start by just wiggling your fingers or brushing your thumbs across your other finger pads. Maybe rolling your ankles, wiggling your toes. Perhaps it might feel good to turn your head to one side and then to the other side. And then stretch your body if it feels nice. Arms overhead and then knees into chest. Give a good gentle hug. Feel free to rock a little bit. And eventually rolling over onto your side and lifting yourself up with your hands. Once you come to a comfortable seat, place your palms together. With your open heart, open chest, allow your heart to expand and send your energy to another. Give the gift of your practice to someone who needs it. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.